Hey guys, today we're taking another look at the 8BitDo wireless adapter. We looked at this a while back. It was just a cool way to hook up PS4 controllers to your Switch, and it was pretty fun for that. But eventually there was other options and stuff. So there's a Mayflash, which actually supports USB controllers. So original Xbox One, Xbox 360, it supported more stuff. But this thing has been absolutely killing it in the last couple years. It was the first adapter, I believe, to support PS5 controllers out of the box. And now there's another update. With this update, you can actually use the 8BitDo Ultimate software. Now, what's the Ultimate software? Previously, the only thing that would allow you to do Ultimate software adjustments was the 8BitDo, I think this is the Pro 2. Yeah, their fancy controller with a Super Nintendo layout. It offers some cool features like you could, remap the buttons, remap the triggers, adjust the trigger sensitivity, change the stick dead zones and all that stuff. It was great, and that's why I stopped using this adapter and started using this controller. But I get it. For some people, a Super Nintendo layout is not super comfortable. So now this fancy adjustment stuff is available in the 8BitDo software. So basically all you have to do is get this $20 adapter. Even if you have an old one from a couple years ago, which will still work, once you install the update, you'll be able to just hook up any of your controllers, and you'll be able to remap all the buttons. The Mayflash had a remapping for X and A to swap, confirm, and cancel, but that's nothing compared to this. So let's go ahead and try this out. It should be super easy. All you have to do is download the firmware update and then the software that lets you remap everything. So we're gonna give it a try real quick. So we'll go to support.8bitdo.com. I'll have this link below. Scroll down to the adapter section. I should mention, these adapters are exactly the same, I believe. Go ahead and download the update for the Switch version. And just go ahead and click firmware updater. And then download for Windows or Mac, whatever you have. And then we'll also want the Ultimate software, I believe, which is up here. I'll have links to both of these in the description, so don't worry about it. And then go ahead and download them. Once you're done, you should have two folders. You'll have to extract them from the zip, of course. We're going to run. You have to run the firmware update first, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So firmware update, 8BitDo, run this. And it says, please connect your 8BitDo device. All right, so once you've connected your adapter, it will show up here. It says new firmware 2.0, support for 8BitDo software, customizable, blah, 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 PS5, PS4, all this stuff. So if you haven't updated in a while, then this will offer some more new features too. But mainly, we're just doing this for the button mapping. So I can't wait to try this out. Okay, it says update successful. So now let's try going into the software. So we can close this and go to your other folder, which is 8BitDo Ultimate Software. Start up the Ultimate Software. You can uncheck this box if you want it to stop bugging you. Okay, so now it's giving us the different options. What controller do you want to remap? Unfortunately, they don't have options for the weirder 8BitDo stuff like the adapter. These things I think will work with the receiver, but you can also use these natively. So anyway, what are we working with? Unfortunately, there's also no profiles for for PS3, but everything else has options, so that's cool. All right, so we're gonna change the DualShock mappings, and it says turn off the DualShock 4 controller, press and hold the pair button, so we gotta pair it up. So we got a controller right here, so it says hold down the share button, and then hold down the power button, or the PlayStation button, and then it should start flashing. And now we press the pair button on our adapter, and in a second it should pair up. There we go, we're connected. It detects our controller. Now it's asking us what platform we want to map for. We're gonna map for Switch, and here's all our buttons. So by default, ZL, ZR, up, down, left, right, and stuff like that. So let's say we wanted to map confirm and cancel backwards. When I'm holding a PlayStation controller, I like to have X's confirmed just because I'm more used to it. Let's go ahead and change that. So we're gonna change X to A, and circle to B. So that will go ahead and invert our confirm and cancel buttons. Of course, that will change your buttons in game too. So if you have a button that needs you to press A, then you'll have to press X instead. So let's go ahead and look at the sticks. So you can adjust this if needed. So basically you can say you can increase or decrease the dead zone. This is perfect for if you have a stick that's like this and your character's always spinning around. You can actually adjust it in here so it won't happen anymore. You can also invert the sticks, left stick. Then when you push up on the stick, it pushes down, and down, up. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. You also have swap D-pad and left stick. For example, if you're playing Link's Awakening and you want to play it with the D-pad, you can actually do this, and then when you push the D-pad buttons, it gives you stick inputs. And when you do a stick, it gives you D-pad inputs. Really cool. I don't know how many games require that, but again, for some retro style games like Link's Awakening, that will be really handy. And vibration, this is pretty standard. PlayStation doesn't have HD rumble, but it can let you adjust. Like, let's say if you want a more nuanced vibration, you can turn it down. You can have it independent, so you can have left vibrate more than the right. I don't really care, but that's just an option. And then you have LEDs. You can actually adjust the color of the LED. Right now it's white. Let's make it red. Or we can mix in some green. Mix in some blue. And you can actually adjust it. This is some crazy stuff, guys. Macros. So we can set up a macro. So we go to, I don't know what it actually says a macro. Okay, well, let's do a simple one. So we'll do X, and then X, and then X. So I think that means if we do X, we map it to XX. You can add in more stuff if you wanted to. So X macro, we'll press it twice. All right, that looks good. Oh, see here? My stick's a little off and I'm not touching it. That's because the dead zone's a little bit off. So if we adjust this left stick till it stops moving, then there we go. My dead zone's now fixed. My controller's wiggling as you see there, but it's not affecting my stick. This controller is a little messed up, but now I don't have to worry about that anymore. If I press left, right, up, down, everything else works as normal. Okay, once you're all done with this, you have to actually save it back to the controller. So we made the light blue, a little bit of a darker blue, but you can't really tell. We remapped the A and B buttons. We adjusted the sticks. We could swap some stuff out, but we're not gonna worry about that. Vibration we left alone. So when you're done, you can actually create profiles. So basically, like, if you want to be able to switch between stuff, like say, oh, I'm going to use this for Monster Hunter or whatever, you can make a profile. So we'll call this, so you can just call this A-B swap. I'm going to say swaps confirm, and then say create. And now we have a new profile called AB swap. If we ever want to change different buttons, we can make a separate profile. And now that we have all this done, our lights are set up, our buttons are set up, we'll go ahead and click sync to adapter, and this will save all the settings to the adapter, so it will, work. Okay, and it says now we have the option to actually switch profile. So it basically says press L3 and R3 to turn profile on or off. Profile reactivation is required each time you restart the controller. So basically, our button profile won't always be on, but that's nice because then we can have a default mapping if we need it. So all right, we have now synced our settings, so now we're ready to go on the Switch. All right, so now we're plugging in our adapters plugged in, turn on our controller, and press the button, and we're ready to go. Right now, circle is confirmed. If we want to switch back, we just push in the two thumbsticks. When you push in the thumbsticks, your controller will vibrate, and that tells you you're on the profile. So now we can switch to whatever we want. Let's use longsword. And now if we press X, it should confirm. So the pushing the thumbsticks to turn on and off the profile is actually pretty good. I find it a little annoying sometimes, but if you're, for example, trying to play a Link's Awakening and you didn't want to have your D-pad and left stick always switched, then you could just simply, push in both thumbsticks and then it will switch between the two sides. X is back, and circle is confirmed. So yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty nice, and again, the dead zones thing is really good for some of you guys who have worn out controllers. So another interesting thing is you can actually use this adapter on the official Switch Pro controller. And you may be thinking, well, if I have a Switch Pro controller, the Switch already supports remapping, right? And yeah, it does, but it's fairly limited. So you have these separate buttons, and then you have control stick mapping down here, which basically only lets you switch the left and right stick, and the right and left stick, which is significantly more limited than what 8BitDo offers. So what you can actually do is take the same controller with these simple button mappings, which is like A to X, B to Y, all that basic stuff. And if you take it over to this same controller over to the 8BitDo software, and here's our Pro controller, and we have the exact same options as before. We have swap sticks, we have left is D-pad, we have invert, we have macros, we have more advanced mapping, and we can pretty much do whatever we want. So this is for more than just using PS4 controllers on your Switch. This actually gives you a better experience with the official Pro controller. As for third-party controllers, I couldn't get them to work. So PowerA, until 8BitDo puts more support in for other controllers, unfortunately, your third-party stuff probably won't work. So, but it's still cool because it still gives you more options in a normal Switch controller. One thing I did notice just now, no rumble adjustment. So you can't, like, you know, adjust your HD rumble sensitivity, but it still gives you quite a few things you can do with the normal Switch controller, including adjusting for dead zones, which I think the Switch's Calibrate can do anyway. But anyway, one last cool thing, like I said before, if you have official Pro controller, it lets you tweak a few things: mapping, macros, and stick adjustments. So yeah, that's about it, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.